the one thing that I've learned in my last 20 years of career and business transition is a journey, and you have to keep improving yourself to keep moving forward. And when you stop, then that's the end. So I want to know how others have transitioned their careers and businesses. So join me for conversations on change, strategy, and leadership. My name is Samuel T. Reddy.
So excited to be joined by my brother, Iveri Vukuqaqa, who I met actually a couple of years ago in Edinburgh. And he's from Fiji and he's from Kadavu, but he will tell you more about himself in a minute. Iveri, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for asking. It's a lovely weather out there and the sun is shining. Summer is here in Scotland.
Oh, that's where you're from. That's where you are now. Okay. Okay. So you see, I have known you for a few years now, but the first time I met you was at this event in Edinburgh. And do you remember the first thing you said to me? It was at the end of the event. You came to me at the end of the event. Do you remember the first thing you said to me?
I can't recall what I said.
I tell you what you did. You came to me and you said to me, "Listen, I want you to talk to my son." And then you brought your son over, and you asked me to talk with your son. Now, this is not something I get every day. I normally work with mid-careers, but that day it was not about you. It was about your family and your son. Why is that?
Interesting to ask that, Samuel. The truth is that, let me start with myself then. So I left. I had a career back home. Obviously, my name is Iveri Vukuqaqa, but the funny thing is that when I was born, I was initially named Iveri Vukuqaqa. My family name is Vukuqaqa. So Vukuqaqa had been with me. The name of the Vukuqaqa meaning is wisdom and victory.
Okay.
Or in Latin, it means Sapiente Victoria, and that is my Bluetooth name. Now, yes, what is the drive? Why did I came across? I'll probably visit that later, but my main reason, my purpose here in the UK is family. A platform for my children to start off in a better platform than where I started. And I think that is the core of the reason why I came across and I chose to be in the sunny Scotland.
Because that was 2 years ago. 28. Okay. Big boy, right? But you being in the UK today, having your family with you, they are the focus of your life here.
Yes.
And I believe if we look at this from a spiritual standpoint, that's what we are told to do. We are meant to raise our children to lead a life of purpose.
Yes.
And I think what you did on the day really impressed me because it gave me your purpose straight away. Straight away, it struck me that this guy, he is about family, he's about legacy, he's about making an impact. So before we go a bit more deeper in the conversation, tell the people more about you. I know you left Fiji as a teacher. Am I right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I am obviously I'm originally from the beautiful island of Kadavu. The funny thing is, I only set foot on it for a few weeks. So in my 40 odd years of existence, I have only set foot in that beautiful place in between the year 92 and 93. I went there for a family gathering. I went with my dad, and the image remained with me. That image, that feeling. So I came from Kadavu, linked maternally um, to Wenibuka in Televu. So I come from the sea, and my dad ended up going to one of those mountain areas to go and marry a wife. So that is where I originally come from. I grew up in Suva, in the suburbs of Suva. I grew up with my aunt. She adopted me. Back then, in those days, the adoption papers are not important. It's just that if a person has compassion and cares for you, they'll take you away and look after you as if they own. And that is the culture I grew up in. There's no black, white, Indian, Fijian. No, it's just humanity, and you are who you are when you come through that door. You are an individual. Now, growing up where I grew up, my uncle passed away, who I love very much, very early in my age, and that was a major turning point for me. I started hating the world. No, I didn't like to talk to people. The person who understand me is now gone. But that is where the journey started, I believe. I would say I'm probably a journeyman in sort of a way. Moving is part of the ethos of my life. So at the age of 6 months, or 6 months to a year, I moved from my family house over to my aunt's place. My uncle passed away, and I moved on from there to a sort of a housing scheme. Housing Authority Relief Trust, Father Hurley Village, Nakasi, and I grew up there. It's like people who live in the scheme, you have on one side of the house, on one side of where I'm living right now, on the other side, when I say I'm from this such and such place, they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm fine.
Okay.
So cutting the thing short is it's funny. It's funny because I went to a primary school, Puran Nagar Primary School,
Yeah.
which is today it is the site of Nakasi High School. It was owned by this plantation owner called Puran Nagar. He walked into the compound and told the headmaster, Mr. Changaya Naidu, I want you and your student out of this place. And he kicked us out. This is in the middle of the day in primary
Wow.
school. So we walked out and he locked the gates to the school. Ended up the chief of Naulu village,
Yeah.
Mr. Mbainivalu. He was coming back from the farm and he met us. We were sitting on the roadside with our backpacks. The sun was shining. The head teacher said, it doesn't matter where we move, teachers teach. So we were kicked out by the owner of the school
Yeah.
with the teachers, and we were taught under the guidance, the care of Mr. Mbainivalu, who was the chief at Naulu at the time. Took us into the church, and he told us, use these as your points. And that is where we started the Mbainivalu Primary School.
Hmm.
Mbainivalu Primary
Is that
School
is
is
that still running today? Is it still on today? The
it's
school?
still on today. Mbainivalu Primary School is still on today.
Wow. That's amazing.
So like I said, moving and starting something new has been part of my life. So Beneville Primary School, I went there and I went over to RKS. I'm not a saint, so let's just say that I'm not a saint. So I came out and I went to Mbolovu High School.
Hmm.
Ended up in LTC. In LTC, Lotoga Teachers College was not a choice, but it was a matter of necessity.
Yeah.
So I taught for, I believe, 8 years. I taught for 8 years.
8 years. Wow. Okay.
Yes, in
So
primary school.
those kids in primary school, they will probably
Let me tell you, the student that I taught are
mid
now
30s.
in the British Army.
Oh, really?
21 came across,
Yeah.
and from Vutia District School, I taught in Vutia,
Yeah.
and I got married to a lovely lady from Vutia as well. And from there, I came across to here,
So
and
you.
and I've always been a believer of seeing the good in people.
Mm,
I look back and I think my journey in life um, was a very colorful journey, I'd say.
yeah.
It wasn't a mediocrity of a life.
Yeah.
To be kicked out in primary school, I remember that, and the teacher, the Mrs. Naloma, my school teacher at the time, my class teacher, one of her daughters is here in the UK. I know them. She's married to a soldier here, and we form a family sort of from Medieval Primary School. The student that I taught, some of them are now here in the British Army. Some have gone to be lawyers and doctors, um, and back to school teaching. I've got a very interesting story about that, but probably for another time.
Yeah.
About what I do, I don't do normal. Normal is not for me. I'm the most abnormal person you'll ever come across.
And I think that's why I go to my podcast. So this is interesting. So what do you do now?
I am now working as a care manager for Melusha Home Care West Lothian. Funny, like I said, let me bring a Bible verse to this, if I may.
Yeah.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 9 to 10. But verse 10, verse 10 says to put on a new man who
Hmm.
is renewed in knowledge according to the image of him who created him. You do love crabbing, don't you?
Love it.
Yes. So crabbing, the crab, in order for growth, needs to shed.
T-shirt. Yeah.
Yes. So that I was sharing there is what I shared to my family. Growth means you need to shed. You need to move. I'm now currently I'm working as a care manager for Melusa Home Care Westfield. The thing is, my journey into care, again, it wasn't through choice.
Mm.
It was through necessity. So I was driving as an Uber. Then I went over. From there, COVID-19 kicked in. So COVID-19 kicked in. I went across. One of my mates works there. And he said to me, why don't you come in and try,
Yeah.
we are looking for people.
Yeah.
So I went in for training. I went in for an interview and had my training. It was a crash course of 3 days and lockdown happened. They told me you'll start when everything comes. Lockdown happened. It changes everything.
Mm.
People went sick, so I had to come in and start the work. So I started during lockdown.
Yeah.
They called me the SOS carer because I was the SOS carer. I
Right.
trained with the manager then, who is now my current boss, her daughter. I trained with the assistant manager, who is now the manager at Melusha Edinburgh.
Mm.
Her sister. So I was the odd one out. Everyone there has part of their family, and they came in because they lost their jobs, their normal jobs. So I came in and trained. I thought this will be a lay-by. I'll come in here, stay here for the next 2 3 months, and then I will jump back to what I was doing because I was loving it. I was just having a little stop. I didn't know that journey will end up in me being a care manager.
Hold on a minute. You're a care manager now. So the journey means you were a teacher,
Yeah,
came to the UK, joined the armed forces,
join the armed forces.
and
Yes,
bang, there we go. You go back to where you should be, which is about caring for people,
yes,
empathy for people, right? So there's no doubt you are probably the first Fijian even soldier, Commonwealth soldier in the UK who is now a care manager. And that is in itself is a celebration. And I know your industry very well because I used to own a care home. So I know the pressure you have to deal with. And I know as well that it is perhaps one of the most meaningful jobs you can have today. But why is your work important to you?
like I said, I grew up in a scheme, a housing authority relief trust. I have a dad, I have a mum. I love them very much, but my aunt was the one who cared for me.
Yeah.
The rule that she puts, there's one rule: if the food is cooked, eat. If you don't eat, I'll feed someone else. The food should not be wasted. So when the food is cooked, I should not miss the time when it's plated. Or anyone
Mm.
who passes our door is an open door policy. Anyone who goes past the door, she'll call them in to eat.
Is that right? Someone else told me about that. I find this amazing. I mean, I've obviously never been to Fiji, but I'm fascinated by this. So if I'm walking around by your house, you will invite me into it.
Oh, yes. You'll get the biggest portion. You'll get the
I need to go to
best
Fiji.
portion. You'll get the best one. So there's the thing. There's the funny thing. So I remember a story, right? A story of an old man in a village that I was teaching in, and they said that he's a lay preacher, and the mum, the wife said to one of the grandkids, Uncle so and so is going past. Do you want to call them? And the grandkid called, and the person walked to the door. Before the person arrived, the granddad said, "Listen, you call, you give that food to him." But the truth
Okay.
is, in Fiji, when I was growing up, you don't go hungry. Every person you go past, they
Yeah.
will call you in. You'll have a cup of tea. You'll have a food to eat. You even get to stay there for 2 or 3 days,
Even though you don't know the person.
even if you don't know the person. The hospitality of the Fijians is skyrocketing.
Now, I've only experienced so far the hospitality in the UK. And I'll tell you what, everywhere I go, I get food. And food is amazing. So this is would you say that this is what has possibly impacted you today as a care manager, the caring part?
Yes, the other things contributed to that. I was a school teacher. But before that, one interesting fact about me is that I used to be a bottler. If you are from Fiji, you are the bottle collector.
Okay.
Notorious for thieving, notorious for nicking stuff. I would say not thieving, nicking stuff,
Yeah.
borrowing long term, and then getting the because you were so young. I was young, and trying to find this bobber job that you do here. Now, from a school teacher, and then I joined the army. The army has values and standards. The core values, one of them is selflessness, the courage, all the sea drills in the army. And then you go on to, I joined, I believe you may disagree, but I believe it to be the best regiment in the British Army, which is the
The rifles. The rifles, right? Yeah.
Rifles.
That's where you come from. Yeah.
And for me, the ethos they teach is once a rifleman, always a rifleman. A thinking rifleman is what they drive into us. And I took that with me to be a thinking rifleman. I took what I learned from when I was young. Every problem has a solution. You've seen a problem, don't cry about it. There's a solution at the end. Join the army, and the same thing. You are a thinking rifleman. You need to be able to perform your duties.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, when I joined LTL, LTL reverts
First of
me
all,
back.
people might not know what is LTL.
Oh,
Tell them
yes.
what is LTL.
So LTL is the Leaders to Leaders. It is the organization that Sam is the head of, and I'm very grateful for Sam for taking the time and effort, traveling up and down the whole of the UK and the world, chasing up ex-service leaders to retrain,
Yeah.
to become leaders in whatever field that they are in. And I take my hats off to LTL. Now, don't take me wrong. I went to CTP, which is the Career Transition Partnership. Career Transition Partnership, I was saying I went in confused and I came out complicated. Yes,
The two.
but it doesn't take away it doesn't take away the amazing thing that
Yeah.
CTP is doing. It doesn't take away that. However, leaders to leaders. For me personally, it promotes the individual to be productive within the team setting. What LTL did to me was take me back and reset the way I think. So that's where that Bible verse for me in Colossians 3:10, I had to be a new man, a new mindset, so it was a self-discovery, self-inventory, and self-evaluation at the very beginning of the foundation. Those three things majorly helped me. It shifted my mindset. When I went to LTL, I was still a carer. When I had that conversation, I was
Yeah.
still a carer. I was still in the field supervising.
I remember that. Yeah.
Then I started this journey, and I started the Leaders to Leaders journey, and went on to did the foundation course, and I went into coordinator. My mindset changed. I'm
In
not
in the foundation.
in the foundation. The mindset changed in not thinking of the problems, but thinking of what can I do better? What can we do better to improve on this? And that is amazing about what LTL has done.
So, what is your vision for Future Impact?
Well, the vision of our company in Livingston, in West Lothian, is to be the lead. Malusha Home Care West Lothian vision is to be the lead dementia care company. My vision is to allow people to grow. I believe in growth.
Is that the teacher in you there, that or the soldier in you talking, that want that other people?
I believe it is me, the teacher, the soldier, the I can be anything. I can be an Uber driver.
Because it's
I
a service.
was an Uber driver.
It's a service.
This is just part. This is just a cell that. But my vision as a care manager is to build a team that understands dementia, the effect of dementia, and set the bar high, so we become leaders in dementia in our own respect, taking into consideration the ethos of a thinking rifleman. I want to bring that across to be a thinking care assistant
So what you're saying here is a person who think on their feet,
on the
basically, right? That's what you're talking about here.
Yes, dementia is totally different per person, totally different. Vascular dementia is not the same from Paul to Jack. They are two different people, two different chemical properties. But let's just say that is my vision. My vision is to build a team that understands, that are able to think and support dementia care and put care back into what it is required to be, and not thinking about the financial outcome of things.
So what you're saying here is this is the type of leadership that's needed today. in the workplace to make such an impact, right?
Yes, leadership-wise, one of the things that have been promoted leadership-wise is I was told I was not assertive enough when I was in the army. I was
Okay.
told that you're not assertive enough, you agree to people. Now, yes, leadership are not the same. It is not a one-size-fits-all. Leadership to me is like water. I, I would describe leadership as fishing. If you go fishing, there are many ways to fish. The key result is to get the fish. So leadership is not a one-way fits all. A person needs to work what the team needs and how you build the team up. The case of leadership, I was reading a book from Ken Blanchard.
Great guy.
Yes, Leading Like Christ. Amazing book. And so that is what for me leadership is. So what would I describe leadership as? A person who cares, a person who's able to, the leadership, the pyramid. If you think the pyramid leadership. So it's the chief at the top,
Yeah.
the people at the bottom. My way of leadership is not that. To make
Which is
an
also
impact.
the military way, right?
Yes.
Where the boss at the top, and then the soldiers are down the bottom.
Yes.
What's your way of leadership?
My way of leadership is the V formation. The V formation. That the end product, the people, the consumers are at the very top.
Yeah. Because if you're not paying, you're out of business.
And I think if that is the way we go forward, there will be more sustainability. There'll be more solutions. More
And
heads.
yeah. And what do you think? What are the core values that underpin the way you think and act today? Because you're now you're a care manager. You got people that come under your responsibility. You got your clients, and you got your manager on top of you, your bosses, the owners. So what are the core values?
Empathy, not sympathy, but empathy. The second one will be honesty. If you look at the word ethos, you have to be a person of empathy. Trust is another person. You need to be able to trust and be trusted. So I've talked about the empathy. I think caring is also, when a person comes and there's a problem, don't look at the problem. Look at what is behind the problem. Look at what is the cause. There could be a cause. People come. Understanding people is really important, even in this digital age. So working in the industry that I'm working in with people with dementia, the self-discovery that I did at foundation level helped because.
And how is that now helping you? Because you're still part of our leaders. You're now onto a different level. How does that change your way of doing things?
So there's three things that we grew up in. What is our environment? One is the social impact of things and the economic impact of things. So when you look at the environment, we need to have an environment. So for me, Leaders to Leaders created an environment that nurture and help individuals from different background with different capabilities to grow. And the company that I joined, the owner of that company, I would say she was crazy. Her name is the leader of the franchise, Melusha Home Care Franchise. I would identify as a crazy person, but good crazy. She's got ideas. She's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
She looks at people, see the best in people, and encourage people to grow, which syncs well with me. So that is the environment. Environment is key. And environment works in many ways. Workplace, home, the church, the community, and there's a social aspect to it as well. When you create an environment, don't blame the seed. Every seed has the potential to bear fruit. It is the environment that you create that will determine whether that seed grows or not.
Do you know about the crab in a bucket?
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, but I did tell you, if I was a crab, I would get all the crabs and climb on top of each other.
So
But
what are you saying? The crab, you got to be in the right environment.
you have to be in the right. Yes, the crab will never be able to climb out of that bucket. It is in their nature. So that's another thing. Just because it is a person's nature does not mean that you can nurture. You cannot change the nature of that person. You create the environment. You change. A monkey swings from the trees. You create another environment. The monkey is swinging from the monkey bar. The social aspect of things is very important. I'm not very sociable.
Okay.
in terms of I go out and visit. No, I don't do that. But I do understand who am I in the community?
Mm.
Who am I in the family? Who am I at work? So I need to be able to have social innuendos, to be able the ethics of social
Were
living.
you also part of running a church as part of the pastoral leadership team at some point?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Would you say church has a big factor in the social part of people growth and development?
yes. And I think the church has lost probably its. Some may disagree with me, but I would say that the church has lost its why it is here.
Mm. Hmm.
There's two things.
I agree to that. I absolutely agree to that. Yes.
There's two things. The kingdom of God, yes. The second thing, the people. If you don't care for people, you need to ask yourself, are you taking up someone else's position? And that is the church can do a lot. People go to church every time, but they can do better.
Mm.
They can do better. And I think that will come down to training and understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say has been your greatest allies in the pursuit of making an impact
Oh,
today?
so many people have helped me be the person I am. Sister Ratnam, goodness me, she puts the fear of God into you. When I was at Nakasi Housing Authority Relief Trust, we had nuns that come,
Okay.
and everybody who come across Sister Ratnam will know. She's got a face of a. When you look at her, the eyes tells you move.
Hmm.
But when you get to know her, she's really the most kindest person you ever come across. Right, the allies, the people who have molded me in who I am, my teachers who understood me, Mr. Chengai Naidu, Mrs. Naloma, and all the other teachers that helped me. My mom and dad, obviously, the story of my dad coming across to mainland, that stayed with me. And I used that as folklore.
Hmm.
I've put it down. I've typed it into a word, and I leave it there for my family to read. It is their history. My aunt, she has got the major impact in my life. She taught me to be able to think on my feet.
Hmm.
My wife, she met a man who was crazy enough to leave a very good work, a very good job as a school teacher,
Yeah.
establish and jump and come to the UK. And she came across and she's kept me on the straight and the narrow.
And I think you agree with me that they are our number one supporters.
Yes, they are the
When
very,
we,
very
in everything
best
we do,
supporters.
they are the best supporters, right?
I think the other one will be my children. Very outspoken, very abrupt in the way they speak. I encourage that on them. I would tell them, don't cut corners, get to the point. And I would
Remind
say
me, remind me again. You have how many sons and daughters?
I have 3 sons and 2 daughters here.
Busy family, yeah.
Yes, but also yourself, Sam, and the team from Leaders to Leaders supported me to, if someone tells me when I graduated from the Teachers College that I'll be going back into further education, pursuing something like this for when I'm nearly 50, I would tell them, take a walk. I'm not doing that.
So these obviously, you agree with me that we are never self-made. There's always people around us. There's always I have lots of mentors in my life as well, and I have a lot of people that I'm very grateful to. And I think if you ever meet somebody, I always tell people, if you meet someone who says I did it by myself, run away. You having an affair with a liar.
Yes, you're standing on the shoulders of giants.
We're all standing on shore giants. Yes, that's amazing. Do you know
Yes.
there was one thing we didn't talk about earlier about the economic impact.
Yes. So I moved here because of the economic impact of the coup in 2006. I was a school teacher. Then Prime Minister Bainimarama, when he came into office, the first thing he did was took 2% away from our pay. We don't get paid a lot.
Yeah.
2% away, that's reaching the bottom of the barrel.
Mm.
And then a few months later, he took 5% away. Yeah. He did not add the 2% back. He just went and took 5% away. And that means people are just scraping the barrel now, the bottom of the barrel. So at that time, I was helping my some of the former students and youths of the village to come across. I've tried joining the British Army back in 2003, but I wasn't successful. But come around the time when they did that, we agreed. I think
Yeah.
that's important. There needs to be an agreement between the family for
Yeah.
me to come across. So I came across on that. One, for the better platform for my family. I knew straight away that I don't want my kids to have the same thing that I went through, because I've been through, that was my fifth coup. So I was there, I was a 12-year-old, I think, or 10-year-old when the first coup happened. And then that affected education across the whole of Fiji. And then
Is that something that's very current in Fiji? Cool.
I hope not.
Okay.
I hope that they will stop that, because the first coup, the first two coups was in 1987, and that stopped the growth of Fijians. A loss of hours of work in education, loss of hours of work in construction. So rebuilding from that, another coup happened in 2000, and that was the civilian coup. And in 2000, the government was taken over by the military. The then Commodore, Commander Bainimarama, then in 2006 went in and overtook. So it's not, coup culture is not very healthy. It affects, and it will have an impact for maybe 2 decades, 3 decades. The way to do about it is they need to look at the policy, they look at the constitution, they need to look at the legislation and say, right, this needs to stop. It needs to stop. You have to have a dialogue and don't go down the route of disrupting people's life and causing there's a lot of illiterate students now
In Fiji right now.
in Fiji. People are not learning how to read properly because of the measures that they took. 16 years of the past government wasn't helping anyone. Now that is, I believe my rant is over, but economic wise, yes, that is another thing I came across as well. I've lost the power to earn. I need to find a way to make the life more viable, and hence I came across. And let me just say for people out there, don't devalue yourself. Don't devalue yourself. I'm a care manager now because someone said something and I thought, right, I need to jump then. Don't devalue yourself. I applied for this job a year before it was re-advertised.
So what you're saying here, don't devalue yourself. You know, in the military, there's a ranking system,
Yes.
right? You and I were both junior soldiers, and then you got the senior soldiers, then you got your officers. A lot of people get trapped by this.
Yes.
And they're thinking that actually they are junior soldiers and that they should not be aiming at the bigger picture. Do you agree on that?
I do. That's what I love about the rifles. In the rifles, the first day rifleman can sit and speak to the five-star general on name basis.
That's amazing. Okay.
I sat with I remember I met Sir Richard Dunnett. I've got a picture with
Yeah.
him. I met him we were doing a coffee, and I met him there. And I said, "Oh, good morning, sir." He looked at me and he said to me, we met at a Christian gathering, and he said to me, "In here, I'm not a sir. I'm just Mr. Dunnett." I thought, wow. But the rifleman, everybody's a rifleman. The five-star general is a rifleman. The two-star general, the captain. So that is something that also builds me to make sure that everyone is equally treated.
Wow, this is great to hear. You are the first rifleman I've actually met in my life, but I have been across a few others, and I'm thinking with that mentality, riflemen can go a very very long way, but there's nothing in the way.
There's
So
nothing in
they,
the way,
mm,
nothing at all. We can sit down in the same table and talk and laugh and be a rifleman,
yeah,
just like you are a British man, and be
wow.
a rifleman wearing the British Army.
So what advice do you have for others seeking to lead and have an impact?
If you fail to become an NCO in the Army, don't bother yourself. I never became an NCO in the Army. You need to know your worth, and
Are you saying know your why?
know your worth.
Okay.
And I think that is where the why comes in.
Hmm.
And like what I've said already, don't devalue yourself. If you're not sitting in the rankings, don't devalue yourself. You are still a better person. If you are there are things that you do now that will bear fruit in the future. Be a person who puts people first. And if you meet a person Don't look down on them. Try and see the best in them. Let me tell you a story while I'm saying that. I've got a young man. This is back in 2000. The first coup happened. I was in a drinking session, and this young man, 15 years of age, turning 16, he was selling drugs. He walked past. There were people that I sat with. They were smoking weed. Sorry if I may mention that. So they were smoking weed. So this young man had a sport bag, like the one that you buy that you put your boots in.
Mm.
So, and in that bag he had small packs of weed, and he was selling it. I looked at him, and I just asked him. Would you like to further your education? And everyone in that group laughed because they all know him.
Mm.
They say he's been to year one
Mm.
4 times, year two 5 times. There's no hope. He does not know how to read English. No, he does not know how to read Fijian. English, don't bother. So I said to them, and that my mindset, I was like, no. I'll ask him again, what would you like to do? He said, yes. And he called me Koko, means uncle. He said, yes, uncle, I would like to have an education. I said to him, let's go. Now, this young man, the only clothes he had on him was a pair of shorts, no underwear, holes in a t-shirt, and flip-flops.
Mm.
So we went that day. I went over and I presented a traditional presentation to the head teacher of the school that I was teaching in. And I said to her, well, I've come here. I bought some fish, took it across to the house, and I said, oh, ma'am, can you cook the fish? And she said, hey, okay. So she started cooking the fish. Then I presented the traditional yangona to them, and I presented to the teacher. Said, I would like this young man to come and to be member of the school. She said, okay, where's his academic results? None. Zilch.
Mm.
0. And she said to me, if he doesn't pass, it's on your tab. I said, okay. So I put him, I was a year 5 and 6, they do the external exam. So he sat and he passed. Every day, I'll sit him down, 5 o'clock, read. I teach him the P1, P2, so that he can get his reading up. Fast forward, now he's a school teacher.
That's amazing.
And then he's a school teacher, and he's graduated the first in his family. This
Wow.
is a family. This is a family.
We need to get a hold of this guy.
This
We
is a
need to make him run our book clubs in Fiji.
yes. This is a family. I can tell you. If you talk about people being stepped upon, this family were used as not a stepping stone, as the doormat. I've been to their house. When he passed, this is amazing. When he passed his year 8,
Yeah.
the family threw a party. I went there with my wife, as if he's passed university. No one said to them. That is why I always say, don't devalue yourself. Because
Mm.
I look at that person not as a person who's selling drugs. There's value in every person. So he's now a school teacher and he's got his own business.
He's a school teacher and has a business.
And he has a business.
What a guy.
You know what it is? He went better than me.
That's right.
I did my school, my teacher's college.
Yeah.
He graduated from a university. And
So
I take my hats off to him.
this guy is a must talk to guy. We have many people here in the UK that came to serve the armed forces, but they really haven't really spent the time to better themselves. Perhaps education for them is remind them of the day of back in school days, where actually education today is more about knowledge.
Knowledge.
If you have equal knowledge as a rite of passage, it's like if you're driving a car, you don't know the highway code, right? You can't read the highway code. So how can you actually drive that car without knowing the highway code? So that's what knowledge does to you. If you don't have the knowledge, then you haven't got the rite of passage. What's your advice to those people? Is it as you said to me yourself? You are now doing finishing your masters, and what would you say to those guys? They'll probably listening to you today.
It is a daunting task to go back to studies. I've got
Mm.
no kidding. Sleepless nights of thinking, should I? Do I? Could I?
Yeah.
But listen, back in the islands, they don't teach you to swim with paddles. They throw you in the sea and then shout to you, there's a shark coming. And you either swim or you run in the sea. That's how you learn. And I would say to those who are listening, if they're struggling, they're thinking, having second thoughts about education, education liberates. Education liberates. So do get an education. If you don't get an education, read books. Read books. And Mr. Reddy here has a lot of books that he gives out.
And if people come to me, I will ship it out for free. So just buzz me, and I will send the books.
Read these books because books help. Books help. You know,
Mm.
books enlighten. And I would say I've always stuck to that. One is don't ever undervalue. You know, you always sell top notch. And how do you sell yourself? You've already done it. You are here now. If you come from the background that I come from, if you come from a housing scheme, so what? It's just a shell. You need to do a bit of crabbing, like Mr. Samuel. You know? Shed the shell, go to the next one. And
Yeah,
that is part of growth. The
yeah,
school that my children go to, they are not rated well because it's in almost like a social scheme place.
yeah,
But it's okay. My kids are doing well.
yeah. So what role would you say LTL has played?
Wow. What role LTL has not played? LTL has taken on in mentoring, partnership, building trust, building confidence. LTL has allowed people to dream again. Allowed people to dream again. Yes, this can be achieved. And I thank the lecturers that have come on and the team at LTL. They've done well. I think that's one thing that many people in our age group now don't do. We don't dream anymore.
Mm,
We don't dream anymore.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes we dream also for our children.
Yes.
You and I are fathers. We are probably we can talk about family for forever. And I think sometimes it's about when the children sees you performing as a parent,
Yes.
they also become glued to that. And it's vice versa. When you see your kids performing, you want to perform with them as well.
That
So,
gentleman that is now a school teacher, he is from the West. He is from Nandronga.
right.
So my good friends Joe Navoka and the others, they will be very happy that I help someone from their end of the field. But it is what I do. It
Yes.
is what I grew up in. The ethos I was taught. Every man is important.
And now you're on your way to not just with the LTL to become yourself a trainer,
Yes,
a coach, a lecturer in the future, and then you got your agenda, which you are following through to make Scotland more sustainable when it
more
comes to
sustainable in
caring.
the care. And for the care to be sustainable, bureaucracy must be cut.
Mm.
There's too many bureaucracy happening and politics happening that is affecting the sustainability of care, that is preventing care to be care. It is profit at the moment over care, but it should be care first.
So finally, Iveri, one message for the soldiers, serving soldiers, the service leavers, and veterans from Fiji. What's the message to them?
There's a saying that used to go around in a Fijian family, and in essence, it goes as if I say it in Fijian. If I translate that, my poverty is your poverty. We tend to think of other people better, which is not a bad thing. It is a good thing. But I would say to the Fijians that came across, family is key. Family is key. If you have something that has not been done right, like I did in the beginning of this journey in LTL, in the Leaders to Leaders, go and get that right. If you have to look for forgiveness and you have to change the things that you need to change. Rethink, reset your mind. You are here. The opportunity is more here. I've got an academic background being a school teacher, but I see the opportunity here is much better. So I would encourage you to take this chance. Take the chance. There's £75, I believe. I don't know if it's 175 that the army provides. Use that. Use that because that is what the army provides. You don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So use that, max it out. Do every opportunity you get to study in the army. Don't wait until you come out. You've got a lot of downtime. I've always said this, I've been repeating it over and over by myself. Don't devalue yourself. You know,
That's a great message.
don't devalue yourself.
That's a great message.
Think about, use every word that has been told that you cannot do it. Because the one that is speaking right now have been
Hmm.
told that he cannot do it.
Mm.
I was told I cannot do it. I
Yeah.
said, as the saying goes, hold this glass or such. Hold my beer. That's what they say, isn't it? But the key message I would say to everyone who comes from Fiji, please don't devalue yourself. You are, whether you are from Fiji or the Commonwealth of Nations, you are an amazing person who had to learn another language to be here. You're a multilinguistic, multitask, a unique person in Britain.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Iveri. I really enjoy, I always enjoy talking to you. I think we talk many, many hours. We can't count the hours anymore. But it's finally nice to get something on recording and that can actually go out, reach out to people. And to our listeners out there, we run the LTL Academy every Wednesday workshop, which is free. And you also get a book when you attend. Go on the ltlchallenge.com and book your next slot with us. But apart from that, Iveri, I wish you a very nice rest of your day. This is Iveri Vukuqaqa, and he is the care manager, the first care manager from a Fijian background soldier to become a care manager in the UK. And I have no doubt with his vision and passion, he's going above and beyond. So I think the future will tell. The future, I'm sure in a couple of years time, we'll bring him back on the show and we'll have a refresh on everything. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Iveri. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you very much for having me in this podcast.
Thank you.